I'm making a game about exploring a magical post-apocalyptic world called Dawn. In my last devlog, I introduced you all to Dawn's core concepts, including lore, core gameplay loops, and what makes this game so unique. I also went over some more uninteresting or boring elements, such as literally showing off how the user interface works. So today, I want to show some new gameplay-focused features I have added since then. So, I redid the roads to be completely dirt. My idea is that it's been so long that the roads have just been buried. The people who were resurrected before you, the skeleton people, redid them with dirt roads. I know asphalt roads being buried is very unrealistic, but this is a game about plant monsters trying to kill you, so... They also put up these roadside lanterns to make nighttime travel easier, and they use the light magic that swirls around you during the night to light up, which looks really cool. You can also see some remnants of the old road system, like these power lines that have been unused for years before the apocalypse even began. In the future, I want to add more detail to these, such as road signs, destroyed cars, rail guards, and more. We've also introduced a new crafting system, and with the core materials and other resources, you can make things like combat gear, healing items, or scrap things down to get materials from them. I'm gonna expand this in the future as more equipment and consumables are added. After a while of redoing designs, decorating, and floor planning, I've completed the first structure, the Hill Residence. This location features an old general store, house, and herbalist garden, and is an example of what you can expect from future structures. This area tells its own story, and not through notes or people crying into recording tapes, but players will be able to piece together a story through the environment. Of course, I'm not going to spoil anything from this area's story, but this also meshes with a future gameplay mechanic I had an idea for that I'll discuss towards the end of this video. With the new lighting overall, interiors during nighttime can be really dark, so I have a few ways you can combat this. The first is these candles placed around interior environments you could light with matches and extinguish at any time. Before putting them in, I thought it would be cool if over time they would melt, but for now at least, I decided against it because I have to think of how the player could restore them, and I was thinking through a sort of waxy substance I could add in the future. The other way to combat this is with a new tool, the lantern. When you have the lantern, you can only turn it on during the night, as the way you actually get it is by finding a broken road lamppost and taking the lantern. From there, you have to go back to a workbench, which is also now in the game, and repair the lantern with resources. It never runs out of fuel, you never need to repair it again, and really helps nighttime exploration. Also, it takes up no space in your inventory. Also added was sleeping, the only way to restore your fatigue stat with available regen. You could pass the time whenever you want to, however, even if your fatigue is full, if you sleep, regen will still be spent. Okay, so I've been building up to combat since March of last year, and I'm still figuring out how to make it work right. Keep in mind, this is by far the hardest feature to add. This is at developer test level right now. Anyways, here is the first enemy added to the game. I have no idea what to call it, but the concept was created by my friend Becca, who did a fantastic job, so thank you so much. This enemy is meant to center around melee combat, and as of now, it has only 2 attacks. One where he whips his vine arms at you, and another where he uses his flytrap chest to bite you, which does loads of damage. You can of course fight back, and can do a few moves. First, you could block his attacks with a magic shield at the cost of mana. You can also do a basic attack that chains up to 3 times with the third attack, triggering a longer recuperation time before you can attack again. You can also do a heavy attack, which doesn't do much by itself, but if the enemy is stunned and you hit them with the heavy attack, then they take double damage. You can also do a running and jumping attack, which uses more energy and does a bit more damage. When you finally kill an enemy, you will be rewarded with essence, which I will discuss later, and the enemy will disintegrate into this pink dust. You also have access to a crossbow, which is your ranged weapon and uses bolts that you can craft with materials. There are still a lot of improvements I want to make to the crossbow, including redoing a lot of its animations, but for now, I guess it's fine. Also, you can make combat gadgets that help aid you, such as the Cursed Jar, which can be thrown at an enemy to instantly stun it. I want to add more combat gadgets in the future, so let me know if you have any ideas for them. Okay, so the main purpose of the workbench is to craft and upgrade weapons. The way to craft weapons is to find their parts somewhere in the world. When you do, you could use those and other materials to craft the weapon. From there, you could equip it, upgrade it, or, in the future, customize it to make it your own. To upgrade it, however, you will need essence, which you get from killing monsters or interacting with almost anything magic related. Weapons have a few stats you should take into consideration when choosing which one you want to use the most, such as damage, enemy armor penetration, how often you stun an enemy, the weapon's max health, and the amount of stamina used when attacking. You also should consider the weapon type and class, as weapon classes like axes typically have a lower range than swords, but usually do more damage to armor. The weapon type could be one of four: light-bladed, light-blunt, heavy-bladed, and heavy-blunt, and each favors some stats more than others. Weapons themselves have their own unique effects, one beneficial and one that gives you a disadvantage. So there is no objectively best weapon, and this allows the player to really make their own choice. This entire system is still a deep work in progress, and while working on it, I am also working on other things such as more structures or new gameplay features, so it will take a while to perfect these systems. This is the last section of the video. Now I want to share a few ideas I have for future gameplay features. The first is stories, and as discussed earlier, each structure will have their own story to tell. And I was thinking of turning this into a gameplay feature by having the player follow a trail and progressively learn what exactly happened at that location before they came along through environmental details. This would be an entirely optional feature and not reward the player with much, and is solely meant for those who wish to learn more about the world or who really care about storytelling to uncover what happened. Another feature I actually started to prototype was a player skill system. The player has two skill sections: core skills and magical capabilities. Core skills is more meant for things such as improving your effectiveness with weapon types, increasing your max health, or the type of modifications you could apply to your weapons. Magical capabilities delve into your effectiveness with manipulating magic, and each skill centers around each magic type the player can use, with the first example being defensive magic. This skill measures how effective you are at blocking attacks, such as the amount of mana used, the amount of damage absorbed, and how long you could hold the shield up before it breaks. Let me know what you think of any features or ideas covered in this video. Your support really means a lot to me and helps me continue working on this project. I really can't wait to get this out to the public one day, so thank you so much for watching.